Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Circle of Knowledge podcast. I'm really excited to share again another wonderful and amazing speaker from the show of season 3, Speak Up, which we'll get into in a little bit, but someone who I've been able to build a personal relationship with, and I absolutely love his story. It is incredible. His background and his upbringing and so many of the cool things that he's on. We should all jump on the Tristan Helm train because he is awesome. Let me bring him on. He's a good friend and he's an awesome speaker. You're going to love this guy. Tristen, welcome to the Circle of Knowledge podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm very, very happy to be here.
Great to hear from you. And I'm excited to hear a little bit more about your story. Please come on in and just make yourself comfortable and share with my listeners a little bit about who you are. I'll give you the platform and the full, I'll give you the full welcome and whatnot. But everyone, you need to know Tristen. He's an incredible coach and speaker and mentor, and I think that it's a great opportunity for you to meet him. Tristen, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, no pressure, huh?
Now you got this, man.
Okay, so my name is Tristan. I'm a cognitive reasoning coach, and really all that means is just helping people to define the perspective that they have on life and be able to reason within themselves probably the best way to go about a situation. And what I mean is we don't respond to truth. We respond to our reality. And it's how we see things that usually determine how we're going to respond to it and what we do about whatever happens to us. And so usually what derails us is when that expectation that we have hits us a little differently than we expected, or possibly we had one way of looking at it and then something happens and we end up seeing the darker side of something. Ultimately, I came about this with obviously a lot of life's journeys. And a long time ago, I was really into drama. I was really into acting. And then I wanted to become an officer. Like I was really all into the breaking down of clues and finding the culprit. And, I wanted to be a cop. And then I had already planned on moving my way up to detective. And I started working on my degree for criminal justice. And I really just kind of fell in love with a couple classes for sociology and psychology. And something about those two classes stuck out to me so much that when I was working on all of my criminal justice credits, I couldn't tell you half of what I learned. But I can tell you a lot of the things that I got out of those two classes. And I started my degree with sociology and psychology. And somehow throughout my entire educational journey, those just stuck with me. So I finally got a job working in law enforcement. I was a detention officer for about 4 years. And the whole enforcement part never kind of took nature. Like I would do it if I had to, but I found myself kind of talking with the people there. If I had an inmate, he was getting upset about something. I got a lot more out of pulling him aside and talking to him and figuring out why was he really upset? What's really going on? What was his home life like before? And a lot of them would open up to me. And I found that for me personally, just in my journey, I found that to be more effective. And then I went through a very crazy time within like all the span of a year. And I had to almost redevelop who I was and who I thought I was. I'd spent so many years putting down insecurities, putting down pain, putting down a lot of stuff that I had to reinvent who I was. Like literally, I changed my entire wardrobe. I changed the way I was talking, to change the way I was acting. And I learned to become who I was supposed to be. And so I started working with kids in a shelter group home. And all of a sudden, I really developed even a stronger passion than I did before for just mentoring and helping. And like, I understand that's what's going on. But what if we looked at it a different way? What if we found a different angle in life And then it may not be as bad. What if this tragedy that you're facing ends up becoming somebody else's attachment to hope? Because you got through it, they're able to pull through. And so since then, I've been really doing my best to study the neurology in the brain, how our perspective changes according to life as it derails us, just about everything that makes up this up here affects everything down. And so the best way I talk about it is just life. Life happened, and I had to learn how to adjust to it.
So, Tristan, there's so much I can unravel on this, because what I've really enjoyed over the last month, and as I've been interviewing a lot of the speakers who were in season 3 of Amazon Prime Video's Speak Up series, you have all, and you're no exception to the fact that we all get so deep in the conversations, and these stories, these backgrounds, these principles are so embedded in who we are and what our now mission is. It's so phenomenal how you translated that, and it's really cool to see that. And I know just a minute ago before we started this, and we were backstage talking about some of the experiences you've had just in the early developments of becoming a speaker, and who you've gotten to meet and who's heard of you and so forth. I'm very, very impressed. And I want to know, I want to ask you, before we jump into some nuggets of knowledge, what's kind of been the transformational mission for you, given the experience in the past you have, and now that the journey you're on? Tell me a little bit about that experience.
So I have a very, very strong spiritual conviction, and I look to Jesus, and that's just how I am. About 2011, March of 2011, I felt really called to write a book, and it was going to be called After Midnight: Finding Your Inner Beauty. And it was, at first, this is how it started out, was being geared towards women, learning how to love themselves and see how beautiful they were without society putting that pressure on them. And that began to transform my way of thinking, because in writing a book, you're always wanting to learn. You're always wanting to see, what can I put in there? What can I add? So I would always carry like little piece of paper, a little piece of notes. And I actually, to this day, I have the very first piece of paper that I started just writing down all these little nuggets that I had was thinking. Like, I have the first Palm Pilot note that I had, where it had the date, which was March 19th, 2011, where the idea of the book came up. So throughout my entire journey of education and working with prisoners, working with children, I just started noticing the thing is, it wasn't just beauty, it was value. A lot of it just came down to why don't people love themselves the way they should be? Why are we relying on other people's opinion or societal standards to dictate how we feel about ourselves? And why isn't our opinion of ourselves as much important, just as important as what somebody else thinks or says? And if not, why? Why do we care so much about how people treat us that it derails us? That seems to be the word today. Derails us from what we see in ourselves. And so that kind of just began transforming the way I saw things. And of course, that ushered me into, well, is it more than just value? What if it's just perception? What if life experiences dictate that perception? The way we're raised, the life's happenings, anything like that. What if that is the cause for that devaluation? Is because we don't see it, because we've been trained not to think that way.
Ah, man. What you bring up brings up so many questions in my mind. And I love this, because again, you take that experience and you turn it into something you now help other people with. Tell me a little bit about that. And you've obviously found patterns. You've obviously found some really interesting and some effective ways of helping people possibly going through the same thing, but you're on this journey. And I love that you brought the spiritual factor into it, because there really is there's a connection to, the spiritualness, or I guess the deity, or even just God. There's a connection
Absolutely.
in all of
Absolutely.
us, because of our grand creator, right? But tell me a little bit about the process and what you're seeing. I guess the process and how you're helping people overcome and face the same things that you went through.
It really has just boiled down to, for one, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So I can't very well just come into somebody's life unless they know a little bit about me and tell them, like, hey, you're important, because then I'm just some guy off the street. But when I'm building rapport with somebody, I really get into, so what happened to you then? Okay, so why did you feel this way? What brought, like, I'm really, and I get intrigued with hearing people's stories. And then I have tried to ask the same questions that I ask myself and ask them. So why don't you care about yourself?
Mm-hmm.
So why does their opinion matter more than yours? Okay, so what makes what they're saying true, when obviously what's really true is right there? They say you're not this, but you have this, and this going for you. Why are you so worried about what they think? And again, just, what I found is most people, their passion is a passion for a reason, because they have some type of emotional connection to it. And it's no different with me. Like, the things that I love and the things that I care about are because of the struggles that I've been through, things that I've had to ask myself, like, why do I care about someone calling me that when I can look at the facts and look at all the other evidence that says otherwise? I have one person that gives me a mean quote or a mean criticism, or they criticize me in a mean way, but I've got 5 other people that are lifting me up and they're there for me. So why would I value that over that?
Yeah.
And so it's obviously my driving passion is for people is to question, why do you think that way? It's okay, but why? Because sometimes you need to break it down to, is that even okay to believe? Because sometimes we have to break that before anything can really begin to change.
I love that. And that is an amazing principle to share. And I know we kind of just jumped right into this. I didn't really introduce who you are and how we met and whatnot. I really wanted you to just get to that core, and you did. You really touched beneath the surface there, and I'm grateful for that. I want my listeners to know just how much I think highly of Tristan, you guys. He is an amazing speaker, and I had the opportunity of meeting him and experiencing his ability to communicate and teach and share and train from stage on the Amazon Prime TV show Speak Up with Dee Wong. And it was such a fun way for us to meet. We are in the season 3, and I couldn't have done that without my connection to Eric Swanson and the Habitude Warrior Conference, Mastermind, and Foundations. I'm really, really happy that was made, because if it really weren't for that for me, I wouldn't have met Tristan, and I wouldn't have had the opportunity to get to know him in this way. His story is amazing, and I want to maybe just jump to that experience. Tell me a little bit more about your experience on the Speak Up Season 3 podcast and production, and what it was like to speak there. And then now that we're live, our season's live, tell us a little bit about that.
Oh my goodness. So before I really started taking speaking seriously, I wanted to do a TED Talk. Like, that was just, for me, in my mind, my perspective was, that was the ultimate, I've made it. If I get to do a TED Talk. And I got to looking at them, and I started saying, like, there's a lot of people that they're not big speakers. They're just people who have different professions. So I studied and I looked a little bit into it, and hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. I did this summit called The Best You. And that's where I met Dee Wong, and I took her classes on becoming a speaker so I could learn to develop more of my craft. I could become better. I took her pitch meeting class, and my goodness, those were life-changing. And then she introduced me to Speak Up. And so whenever I'll never forget when I walked into the building, I was like, to say this is a dream come true, that's an understatement, because it had nothing to do with being on TV. It just had to do with, this is something I've loved doing, and this is my passion. And to have like a physical manifestation, an actual stage where there's going to be people in front of me, is beyond my dreams. And so getting there, meeting you, and seeing all these people that are very like-minded, I'm like, these are my people. These are the people that I love being around. I could be around them as forever, and I wouldn't lose an ounce of energy. This is amazing. So there was just an overflow of energy and happiness and joy, and it just seemed like we were all connected on the same wavelength, which again, you can break stuff down in science with people and their energy and their wavelength and the way they think, the way they do things. And all of season 3, it really seemed that there was this commonality in what we were talking about. I spoke on increasing internal importance. Someone talked about the power of purpose. Oh my goodness, that story about leading people. And when you went to the Bat Cave, I was just like, does everybody know what they were talking about beforehand? Did you do this on purpose? And because it all boiled down to self and improvement. And so I brought up the TED Talk to say that was my TED Talk. That was the ultimate dream. That is now, it one time was way up here, but now that I feel like I've reached it, now I want that to be my launching pad, and I want to just go nowhere but up, and lift people up and bring people with me. And that was a literal, just a life-changing event. Just getting to know all of you guys and seeing that, wow, I'm really among the greatest, and I'm with people that are very like-minded, just amazing people. And so it was very, man, I can't, very euphoric, lots of euphoria. When I left, I almost broke down in tears. And so, I could go into it more, but I'll leave you with that.
It really was an awesome experience. And I love what you said, and no one had described it that way, but Dee Dee really has brought together a band of amazing people to create, I don't even know how to explain it other than a conglomerate storyline of diverse backgrounds. And what was interesting about season 3 is most of us speakers were coaches, and we had more of a motivational, overcoming certain hardships and challenges type messaging, but still everyone came from that same perspective, and yet added a complete wide variety, global, different variety of opportunities and information and stories. And I love that. Yours in particular, I really enjoyed. You have a way with words, and it was really exciting to watch you on stage. It really seemed to be your element. And I thought it was funny too. Like, wow, did people really like this is a thing? They really did a great job. But I think it's super cool that we all came together in the way we did, and that Dee Dee, led that group. I think that in every group that she's done a very, very, very good job of doing it. You looked awesome up there, man. If you guys really need to go and watch that episode. I'll bring it up again. That was such a fun experience, but getting to know us, the speakers, is one thing versus, the actual experience of walking yourself through some of the, putting yourself in the shoes of some of these speakers and what they're doing and what they're going through. And Tristen in episode 9 has such a really cool, realization. And he also, like TED Talks, brought this really cool perspective and aspect to the world of coaching. And so I highly recommend you guys go find this on Amazon Prime Video. What a great episode, and what a fun season. And you need to listen to Tristen. He's awesome. You'll enjoy his speech. Tristen, tell me a little bit. We'll kind of wrap this up a bit, but what is a nugget of knowledge that you wish that your younger self knew that you'd love to share with the world? Something that you feel like everyone needs to know.
So the I would say the biggest challenge I've been facing, or I've had to face, was regret. It took me so long to get to where I'm at. And so there have been times where I've been really upset with myself, like, man, I could have been doing this years ago. And while I would like to pander that thought, and it would do nothing but hurt me, because I wouldn't be here where I'm at, learning and knowing these things, if I hadn't been through those other things. And so the biggest realization for me recently has been, there should be no I should have, I could have, I probably should have known, but if we knew better, we would do better. And so everything that we go through, every decision that we make, is the opportunity to learn, to become better, whether it's life happening against us or us making life harder for ourselves. Living without that regret of, I should have known better, I could have been doing this a long time ago. Letting that off of your back is such a weight that gets released, because then you realize, I just had to go to school. I just had to go through my learning experience. As Les Brown says, that, he said he had to pull himself together and say, no, this is the schooling this is the tuition you have to pay for what you don't know. And that's all it is. Life is just a tuition sometimes. We're just paying for what we don't know. And that's okay. And the less we grovel and feel bad about ourselves over the little mistakes and the business mishaps that we go through, the easier life is just to take the next step. Like, okay, I messed that deal up. Probably could have done this better, but let me keep trying. Rather than spending an hour sulking about what I should have done, I could just take it up as a stepping stone, learn from it, and instead of repeating the same mistake, now I've elevated myself. And it's just, there's the story about the farmer who his donkey fell into the well, and he figures, you know what, the well's dry anyway, there's nothing I can do, the donkey might as well die. So he starts throwing in dirt, and every time the dirt hits the donkey's back, he shakes it off, and he just puts the dirt underneath him. It could bury him, or he could end up standing on top of it. So when life happens, when we make mistakes, when things don't go through, whenever deals go flat, people don't show up, they're just learning experiences. And the quicker we can learn to shake it off and just step up, we learn that not only are we able to rise to the occasion, we needed that experience to step up, to step into where we're needing to go, where we feel that liberty, where we feel that freedom of, I made it. I'm out of that woods, or I'm out of the woods. I'm out of that hole, because those things happened to me and I learned to rise above it. And I needed those things. And I think that's the hardest thing for anybody to grasp, is we need hardship, whether we like it or not. We need hardship. We need trials. We need things to come against us. That is the stepping stone to becoming better.
And I wanted to put this little ticker down here, but I wanted to unpack a little bit of what you said. I really appreciate that value and those golden nuggets. And I'll tell you what, you're changing lives here. Check this out. Facebook user, probably part of one of our private groups, not listed, but they said they've always read those things, and they love what you said, because it is a true fact that a lot of people do worry about these things. And I think your advice is very, very key, very, very on point, that there really can be a solution for a lot of people, and it's within ourselves, not necessarily within the resources of others, but the resources of others have the aspect of helping us to get where we need to. And that's a really cool aspect of that.
Absolutely.
Tristen, how can people get a hold of you? How can they reach you? I know I put your website down here below, but I know that you've got a special offer, and anyone who wants to talk with you more, especially this Facebook user, or my good friend Shan, he says aloha. If any of these people want to reach out to you, how can they reach you?
So my website is very simple. It's like Apple simple, just one click and you're there. There is, two options, or two things I would like for people to do. Is I like for them to go to the purchase purchase the book, and that'll take you to the book's website. But there's an option that says, email me, or I think it's contact me. And in there, you can put down your name, your email address, the subject line, and just a little bit about it. And if somebody will put John sent me, then I will give them 30 minutes of my devoted time to just work on any type of barriers. And if we don't get through, then we'll, go from there. But I guarantee at least 30 minutes of devoted time for anybody who emails me using the website and the tagline, John sent me.
Putting that here in the chat section here. So anyone watching or listening, or if you're listening in on the audio version, you'll be able to see this. But yeah, just go there. And you said that from your website, correct?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's an email. Yeah. It's either under request help or it's under email. I had to go double check just to make sure.
I love it. And I think people will be able to find the way there. But thank you for doing that. Thank you for offering that. I think what I'm getting is a lot of people probably want to talk. They probably want to just get it out, and they want that guidance that could come from, a coach yourself or a consultant who can walk them through the step-by-step and even just get it out, right? Because sometimes we're not willing to pull out of the darkness that which we've stuffed down deep. And so it's really interesting. I kind of want to ask you one last question, and then we can leave it from here. I know you and I both have some hard here. I wanted to ask you, what is the thing right now that's inspiring you the most? And I don't ask this question a lot, but there are a lot of things driving you and driving your business and what you're doing and how you're helping people. But what's the most inspiring thing for you right now that keeps you going, that keeps you rocking?
I want to say some type of cliched answer, like, just helping people. But really it's looking at what value am I giving to myself and what value am I giving to other people. And then learning to evaluate that each day. Because there's been a lot of lows, especially even recently. I've just been really down in the dumps, just trying to figure out what's my next step. Should I continue this? But I want to say what word comes to mind is connectivity. Every time I talk to somebody who is either like-minded or they're in an area that I'm really looking to achieve, it does something to me that just energizes me. Like talking to you right now, I'm pumped up. And normally, and it's at the end of the day, actually, usually right now, I'm just getting off my other job and I'm taking me like a little breather from life and I'm decompressing. But this right here, just the ability to talk to somebody who thinks similar to me, and more so even than I do, it's very energizing. And it's, I don't want to use the word, but it's motivating. And I think motivation is very important. And knowing that, every step that I take is just leading me a little bit closer. So connectivity, if that answers the question, connectivity.
Yeah, absolutely does answer the question. And thank you. Connectivity is huge. That does inspire a lot of people. And I think those listening, those watching, those experiencing this, as Tristen described, connectivity is a huge piece, whether it's connectivity to yourself or others, to your higher self, your God, your spirituality, and all of the above. I think it's very, very important. Tristen, thank you for your time. And I'd like to do this again. I don't want this to be a one-time thing. And with schedules, we got a little rush today, but I'm so excited to dive deeper into this. And I very value your time. And you mentioned something about, the way people think, like-mindedness. I absolutely think the same of you. And I think that we're all learning. I think we're growing. I think we're experiencing. And so I highly recommend we do this again and we have you come on again and let's get that scheduled. But I just want to thank you for your time and thank you for sharing the nuggets of knowledge that I believe will change and share with a lot of people in my audience.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you very much for joining us. And again, let's schedule another time because I want to do this again in a lot more time too. And you guys, this has been another episode of the the Circle of Knowledge, which is sponsored and brought to you by Champion Circle. And again, this couldn't have been possible. This interaction, this connection couldn't have been possible without the connection of Dee Dee Wong with Eric Swanson and the Habitude Warrior Group that allowed me the opportunity to do as Tristen did, to speak on stage and to be on Speak Up. So thank you very much. And we'll see you guys next time on another episode of the Circle of Knowledge. See you later, everybody. John Kovac Jr. with the Circle of Knowledge podcast. Just wanted to take a minute and say thank you again for being a listener. We are in our 5th season. Can you believe that? 5th season. This is a podcast that we literally started in our basement, and we've graduated, we've evolved, we've added so many amazing guests and speakers to this amazing podcast, and I wanted to just thank you because you guys make it possible. I will report that we've got over 25,000 listeners worldwide, so thank you for being a listener. And to give back, we just want to get touch base with you to learn more about what you love about our show. And if you will please send me an email, direct email, like this is going to be the email that you want to send it to. My email is John, Jon, at mychampionscircle.com. And that is the email you can reach me at. Please send us some advice, some counsel, some suggestions. If you like any piece of the show, or if there's anyone that was on the show that you really loved and want them back on the show, please let us know, because the conversations that we have on this show really do get slightly below the surface. But if we have guests come on for a second or a third time, then we can even get deeper. And that's what I'm all about, is getting into the core and the deep conversations to help you enhance, increase, and improve your knowledge. Selfishly, I do this podcast because I just love learning from amazing people. And I hope you do too. The stories are very, very impactful. They're inspiring. They motivate me. And they also just, get me out of bed every day. I really love doing this show. And if you love it too, please show your support. You can send us some money if you want, but that's not necessarily important. Most importantly is just hearing what you want to know. And if you love this show, please go ahead and give us a subscription or a follow or a like, or even just leave a great 5-star review. That would really, really benefit the show. And if you have nothing nice to say, then just buzz off. So again, I'm John Kovac Jr. I'm an international motivational speaker. I'm a global mastermind leader, and I'm the founder of Champion Circle Networking Association, a growing networking association that takes mastermind methodologies and puts them to the test as true professionals seeking to grow and scale their businesses work on that every single week, every single day. We follow the teachings of Think and Grow Rich and so many other great, amazing books, which we review on this show. So if you've really enjoyed the content, please show us some love and support. I just want to hear from you. I want to know who's out there. Who's out there? Tell me who's out there. Anyways, we appreciate you. And again, thank you for enjoying the show. We look forward to launching a few more episodes. We go live every week, and we will, if you want to catch us on the live show, that will be on Facebook or LinkedIn. Just look me up. It's John, Jon, Kovac, Kovach, Jr., Jr. And you can find us on pretty much anywhere, but we go live on Friday mornings. But the show will launch here on the podcast channel that you listen to every Monday morning. So looking forward to more opportunities to convert and to serve you. So get on it, go with those amazing counsels, and that makes really good sense, right? But please take the counsel and the knowledge that you receive from this show and put it to action. And let me know what stories, what advances, what amazing overcoming challenges you're having in your day-to-day life. All right. With that being said, thank you for listening to the show. We love you.